Hello and welcome, my name is Belle, and today I'll be talking about my final thoughts on Before the Storm. The things I'm about to say will probably upset you, because I got strong opinions on Before the Storm, which you will try to defend, and I understand. But this is my opinion, which I wanted to do because I wanted to play the game a few more times to see the different outcomes and to make an ultimate decision in whether I like it or not. Of course, there's spoilers coming for the 3 episodes of Before the Storm and Life is Strange itself, so beware. I had so many things in my mind that I really didn't know how or where to start. That's why I decided I needed a script. There's so many things that I needed to get out of my chest after the ending that it's absolutely freaking insane. So let's go into the first topic. Ambiguity in the game is something I'm not very fond of, since I wanted answers for Rachel's situation and how did she end up where she did, even though it was 3 years before the main game. I don't like the fact that whatever happens in Before the Storm feels rather not too specific. Either if we meet Sarah or don't, if we try to make amends with David or we hate his guts, if Nathan is friends with Samantha or she just ignores his ass, and finally, if we lie to Rachel and she's okay with Rose and James, or we tell her the truth and we destroy her family. All of that gets erased by the fact that anything could have happened between the 3 years that went from episode 3 in Before the Storm and episode 1 Life is Strange. So, leave us with nothing really. Because if we lie to her and she's okay with her family, why wouldn't they be worried about her being missing in the main game? Because anything could have happened and it's up to you to fill the blanks. The story they decided to tell us left us with nothing more than these were the first 3 days in Rachel's and Chloe's friendship, which I would have loved, but they had to add Sarah for dramatic effect, which is something I'll talk about later. For a moment or two, I thought this maybe was because I think too much about it, but reading your comments, talking to my friends, seeing some opinions of people online, and my own take on it, we all see the story in a completely different way, especially when we have to fill in the blanks. Let's not talk about how disappointed I am at how Deck 9 handled the Elliot dilemma, I guess you could call it. Whether you choose to be nice to him or not, he's a psycho, and he insists that Rachel is manipulating Chloe. So if they're gonna go into the fact that Elliot follows Chloe everywhere, which can be justified with the "you're about to die" quote from his notebook that matches Chloe's optional graffiti in the track, he should have given stronger arguments to his cause, rather than
she made you take part in a play you didn't want to be in?
I don't think there was any need for that scene whatsoever, but they needed to fill in the plot about him being gone for Life is Strange. We joked about Elliot being actually Warren too, kind of with a mashup of Mark Jefferson. But unlike Warren, who knew his boundaries, Elliot crossed the line, and I think that's the difference between good writing and writing a character in for a good shock point in the story, so yeah. About Mr. Jefferson's various cameos. About Mr. Jefferson's various cameos during the game. One of them was pointed out by one member of our community, that if you listen to the radio in the junkyard during episode 2, you can hear that they're interviewing photographers for the position that Mark got, and they even mentioned him as a top candidate.
I understand you're here to discuss an exciting new direction for Arcadia Bay's most elite private school.
Next year we're adding a photography track.
Photography? Oh, snap. Do you know who'll be running the program?
Well, Stan, currently we're interviewing some well-known photographers, Gabriella Walker and Mark Jefferson, to name a few.
Good things in store for those Blackwell students.
Later in episode 3, when we are at the hospital waiting for the Embers to give us the news on Rachel, we got this snippet. By the closest, you would probably think it's James, because they were wearing similar suits, but this figure seems more slender than James actually is. And ultimately, James does not have a beard so similar to Jefferson's. But why is Jefferson in the hospital? We'll never know. But it's too big of a coincidence to pass, so I wanted to add it in. And the final look into Mark was, well, that final shot that I think you all guys hated so much. That where we see the phone in the dark room. No, why did you have to do that? I did love the wings to the first two, and you guys absolutely hated the third one. I'm not gonna defend it since it wasn't tasteful at all. I understand they did it, having in mind some players haven't played the original game, but they could have done it differently. Maybe Max arriving at Blackwell, something like that. And I still feel like it's harsh that once again the last time we see Rachel in game is dead. Which leads me to the subject. Why so many people are furious about the fact that we couldn't do anything to save Rachel from her fate in Life Strange. These people confuse the heck out of me. I would love to see Rachel and Max and Chloe happy together. That would be the ultimate ending. But dude, if you play Life is Strange before the prequel, you know what's gonna happen, and that her freaking death was set on stone. And for those who understand the premise, then what the fuck? I don't get it. I'm furious that Rachel died like that. But I didn't expect Deck 9 to give us an ending where Rachel and Chloe run away. That was out of the table. So the main plot revolves around Sarah. We found out at the very end of episode 2 that Sarah is Rachel's real mom. I walked into episode 3 too hopeful to find answers, but what we got again was ambiguity. James' involvement with Damon wasn't odd when we learned that Sarah has been in rehab and wants partial custody of her daughter. To me, it seemed quite peculiar, and as I like to call it, a Hollywood approach. But there's something that bugs me about this. If it's true that James hired Damon to scare Sarah away, we can see these few texts from the burnout cell phone. First text that I want to point out is dated May the 4th, and it's from Damon. I talked to your girl and she has a big mouth. This would point out to the first time Damon tried to scare Sarah away, which didn't work. The next one, dated May the 8th, turns out she's not so easy. So he insisted on just, get Sarah to actually live. Yet this next text doesn't quite add up to James wanting Sarah back into drugs / overdose / kill her, or whatever they wanted to do with her. This one is dated May the 8th as well. And it reads, "Don't hurt her." To which Damon replies, "I got my best guy on it." Meaning Frank. That's why we see Sarah leaving Frank's RV in episode 2.
That's the woman we saw with Rachel's dad.
All of a sudden, we got Damon trying to inject Sarah with heroin?
After all, no one believes a junkie.
No.
Where the hell did that came from? For all we know, that's James' last response to Damon. And it's not to defend James or anything, but I think this is one of the reasons it felt rushed. They explain the main storyline through some text messages and some letters that you could totally skip reading. If they were intending for James to take care of Sarah that way, then explain it. Don't leave it up in the air. Yet again, we are left to believe whatever we understand from it. Then we're off to fight Damon with Sarah Drag and Frank killing him. This is the next topic, Frank. Frank killing Damon left me wondering, why does Chloe hate Frank so much in the first game after helping saving Rachel and saving her ass from Damon?
Rachel! Damon! What the fuck? Chloe! Go! Now!
Yes, he's a drug dealer, but I don't understand the hate he gets. There were people who were complaining about Frank killing Damon, which I could not understand. I know it would be way nicer and better to take him to jail for what he did, but again, this game wasn't about logical choices. It was rather about shocking the audience with whatever they got. Plus, he saved Sarah and Chloe by doing that. So, I don't know. Let's jump back to Sarah for a second and why I feel she's an scapegoat for the main arc as Chloe was for Life is Strange. Just in case you don't know what a scapegoat is, scapegoat is an event, person, or object that is used to lay the blame on for all that goes wrong, regardless of the contributions of others. Sarah, as we can see in the letters that she sent Rachel, was very eager to meet her daughter to the point that she went into rehab and has been clean for a year. All she wanted was to meet her daughter and started to refuse taking Jane's paychecks to stay away from her, and even fought against Damon and Frank, coercing her to leave. She was so sure about it, to the point of hiring a lawyer to get partial custody on Rachel freaking Amber.
I just want to meet my daughter.
Headstrong, you'll think. Well, suddenly she gets a hit of heroin and just wants out. Just like that. Because you gotta be very specific about your dialogue choices to get her to stay. Which on release day, only 1% of players got right. To put it into perspective, it was the same amount of people who didn't share earbuds with Rachel in the first episode. Well, I understand Sarah wants to keep Rachel safe from all that toxic environment. If she stays, what's her role in what's to come in Rachel's death? To add to the scapegoat topic, after she's gone, everything is fine except for Rachel, who never got to meet her mom. And if she stayed, she either got her into drugs, neglected her when she went missing, or just left again for good. I'll finish this fragment stating that I feel like she was used to add that dramatic effect into the game. The story goes from James cheating with Sarah, to knowing Rachel's mother was Sarah, to she was a drug addict, to Sarah wanting her daughter back, and then they failed to give us a good climax about it. And went straight into the resolution itself. That's why I feel it was pretty lacking in the writing department. This section is overall thoughts and some miscellaneous stuff that I didn't want to expand on, but I had still feelings about it. To me, episode 3 overall just felt completely different. It felt empty. I think there were things missing from it. I especially felt that when we were at the hospital and we didn't get a real talk with Steph. Ola from the Stop Mayo channel talked about this more in depth, and she probably expressed herself better than I would ever do. So go check that out. And now I'm a member of a community show Hola Me. Is tweet from Zach Garris where he tried to spam himself after the lack of Amber Prize in episode 3, justifying that there are other ways to show love. as I agree, I think that they were better ways to do that than what they actually did, and it actually felt like he was justifying slash defending himself rather than just owning it, you know? The last thing I'm gonna talk about is the fact that there was no sense of punishment over destroying evidence of a crime in a game about consequences, because it was the last episode and you were forced to do it for the sake of the main story. Again, we're looking at a self-help book, and choosing different outfits gives you consequences for this to just... How and why? Like, hit me up because I don't get it. I want to point out what I like about it because it's still a good game and I'm starting to feel like a bullet here. I like the game and getting to know Rachel and her relationship with Chloe, but I feel like they handled the rest of the story poorly. I guess they didn't want to go too much into the lore, since they might have felt some sort of respect toward the creators, or maybe they were forced and limited to do it this way. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt in that matter. Either way, I think they had a tough job trying to fill the shoes of its predecessor, and I believe they did an absolutely awesome job. Created Rachel, someone we knew nothing about really, and turned out to absolutely change my mind about her from episode 1 to episode 3. Their relationship was beautiful, and in my opinion it's everything I wanted out of it and more. Since in Life is Strange, we weren't sure about Rachel reciprocating those feelings Chloe had for her. Something I enjoyed as well was Chloe's interaction with her dad William, which was absolutely touching and heartbreaking.
Look at me, sweetheart. It's going to be okay.
It had enough wings to the previous installment, to Max, Mark, Rachel, and even Kate and Warren. They had in mind 98% of the time what Life is Strange had already established about the characters, and it's something really difficult to do. This didn't felt in any moment different from the original game. Nathan being bullied to death before meeting Mark Jefferson and joining the Vortex Club made sense to me somehow. So in conclusion, Tech 9 had the stakes really high, but they relied too much in that ambiguity and 3-year gap for the story they wanted to tell us. They were great building characters from the ground up, but I think the limitations they had kind of killed the opportunity to reach full potential. So yeah, that were my final thoughts on Life is Strange Before the Storm. It was mainly about episode 3 because it just gave so much to talk about, and it also kind of just closed that chapter. Life is Strange had much more depth to it, and even though this was a prequel to the actual game and more like a spin-off and kind of shorter, and they had to cover so many things, it felt shallow, just kind of like a Hollywood script rather than I don't know, more personal, I guess. I know my opinions are probably really weird and you will be screaming at your freaking screen like, what the hell are you talking about? Shut the hell up. Well, those were my opinions, and I would like you to respect my opinions as I just respect yours. So yeah, if you want to move on a little bit even, or just find me on whatever I had to say, just put it in the comment down below. I will probably responding to you. There's a 99% chance that I respond to you. So yeah, if you like it, give it a thumbs up right here. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and stream on Saturday. So we're actually streaming Life Strange before the storm, and we're choosing the weird choices, the unpopular choices. So if you want to keep up with that, there's a subscribe button over here as well. And yeah, I'll see you real soon. Bye. I've been doing this for an hour and 20 minutes. I cannot get my shit together.